Hey, what's up guys? It's your girl Sugar Sade back again with another video. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sade. I am a psychiatric travel nurse and I'm currently in school becoming a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. On my channel, I talk about all things related to nursing, lifestyle, and mental health. So if you're interested in any of those topics, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Today's video is not a good video. It's a video talking about the time I got attacked, and I got attacked bad. This is a sad but very true reality of working in psych, and this is why psych really isn't for everybody and why some people really don't want to work in psych. There is a degree of danger, there is a degree of unpredictability, and there is a chance that a patient may attack you. And in my 4 years of being a psych nurse, this was the first time I've ever been attacked. It was a horrible experience. It was very traumatic for me. It left me with scars and it was very scary overall. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. I came into work that day and we had a patient that had been there attacking people unprovoked, attacking staff actually, unprovoked all weekend. It was a big girl. She was 6 foot, 250 pounds, and she had already attacked 2 prior staff at the same time, just walking down the hall, just started beating them up. So on my shift, I came in and I had her, lucky me, and I wasn't scared at all. You know, I had violent patients before, and I had faith in my ability to de-escalate patients, and I know that I treat my patients with respect, and I try to help them out and meet their needs as much as possible. So I really did not expect to be getting attacked that day at all. So that patient was in her room screaming, responding really badly to unseen others. So I went in there to check on her. And I'm like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? And she immediately yells, give me some meds. I need meds. I need a shot. And I'm like, okay, are you hearing voices? And she's like, yes. So I'm like, okay, let me call the doctor. Let me get those medications for you. So I leave out, call the doctor, get the order. Doctor orders a 10-250, right? So I tell the med nurse, hey, I am ready for this patient, you know, the one that's been attacking people. She's responding really badly. Tell me why it took the med nurse over an hour to bring the medication. But it was fine because actually the patient had calmed down. She was in the day room relaxing and chilling with other patients. She wasn't responding anymore, right? So I was like, okay, she calmed down. When the nurse finally came, the med nurses actually, there was 2 of them, finally came with the medication. They told me, okay, I have your meds for your patient. So I went out into the hall, was gonna go tell the patient, but she was already walking down the hallway. So I was like, oh, Jane Doe, we have your medication that you asked for. Just go to your room and we'll give it to you there. So the patient just looks at me and she continues walking down the hall. So I'm like, okay. I start walking a little bit behind her, and I did get a weird feeling because the patient kept trying to slow down and get closer to me. And I was like, why is she trying to be close to me? This is weird. So when she would stop, I would stop. And then she was like, hey, can I get some socks? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give you some socks, but after we give you this medication. And right when I turned my head to look at the door where the socks are, she just started punching me. Started boom, 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 punching me in the head. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'm in this corner. I can't even go anywhere because I'm between a door and a wall. And then my initial reaction was to ball up my fist and to hit her back, right? But then I was like, okay, no, I don't want to hit my patient. I don't feel like it's the right thing to do to be like fighting my patient like a girl in the streets or anything like that. I'm supposed to be providing care. I'm supposed to be helping them. I'm supposed to be the mental health professional. And we're trained in CPI and there's more than enough staff around me. There's 5 women literally standing around me that we can restrain this patient. I don't need to fight her, basically, right? So I expected the other nurses and staff members to join in and help me restrain the patient, but things didn't go down that way. I'm getting hit by the patient. I hold myself back and I'm like, okay, let me try to restrain her until other people come in. It's going on more and more and more. She's hitting me, she's grabbing me, she's grabbing my hair, whipping me around by my hair, whipping my neck around, and then literally starts gouging my eyes, digs her nails into my eyes, and normally I'm wearing lash extensions. She ripped all my lash extensions off on this eye, took a chunk out of my eyelid on this eye, took 3 chunks out of my cheek on this side of my face, and split my ear right here. And she scratched me under the eye right here. So yeah, it wasn't fun at all. And as this was going on, I was like, where is everybody at? This is going on a really long time. Because like I said before, I've worked in psych for 4 years. I've seen many patient attacks. I have seen many takedowns. And how it usually goes is the patient gets a couple hits in, and then staff is swarming on the patient, and we all restrain them together, and nobody gets seriously hurt besides maybe a few punches. It didn't go down that way with me. I think personally, because a lot of the women that were around, not only were they older, not all of them were older, but a couple of them were older. They didn't want to get involved. I also think there was a degree of fear involved with this because this patient was a really big girl and she had been attacking people repeatedly. So people were already weary of her. And then 3, I just feel like people were scared. They were scared. Overall, that was it. They were scared. And they didn't help me. They were calling for help, calling for men to come because there were no men nearby. But that took a while. And they let me sit there and get beat up by this patient without helping me. So I was really, really hurt by that because there was no way that I could have ever seen somebody getting beat up by a patient and not help them just because I'm scared. Because if 5 of you plus 1 of me are against this one patient, we could have restrained her. We could have gotten her at least off of me. I wouldn't have a scar on my eye right now. She wouldn't have gouged my eyes. She wouldn't have, scratched my face up. I had blood dripping down my face by the time that this was over. By the time that the guys finally came there, I was messed up. And I feel like that should have never happened. And I've seen it be done a million times, and this has never happened. Usually people do help. So I was really shocked by this, and it really bothered me a lot. And the worst part about it was I was supposed to go on a trip to Puerto Rico and to New York 3 days after that incident happened, for my boyfriend's birthday. And I immediately, after the incident happened, they took her, restrained her, and I rushed into a room because I seen how crazy everybody was looking at me like. So I was like, oh damn, I know my face is messed up. So I went to the room and I immediately looked in the mirror and I seen how I looked, and I just immediately started crying because I was so pissed off because I was looking forward to this vacation. I had been working really hard. I had been working like 48 to 60 hours a week, and I really wanted to enjoy this time with my boyfriend. It was our first like real good trip together, and I knew I was gonna look like a beat up, battered woman in the pictures. So I was really upset, but things could have been worse. She was gouging my eyes, which she did actually scratch my eyeball because I had blurry vision for about 2 weeks in this eye after the incident. But thank God that she didn't actually blind me. After that incident happened, they made me go to this urgent care place where you're supposed to go for employees that get injured on the job. I didn't really want to go because I knew they weren't going to do anything, and I was honestly pissed off and just wanted to go home because of how the whole situation was handled. There was just multiple things that went wrong in that situation. 1, this patient had a history of attacking people. She should have been on a 1-to-1, really, let's be honest. 2, obviously the doctors are not medicating well at this hospital because why is she still so high acuity? She's been here over a week and she's still attacking people unprovoked. She's still responding really heavily. Obviously she needs a med adjustment, And 3, we're all trained in CPI and nobody did CPI. And then I was even more frustrated to hear afterwards people were like, oh, well, we're not supposed to help. What do you mean you're not supposed to help? That's what you're trained in CPI for. I didn't say let's all gang up and jump the patient. No, get up all together and get her off of me and let's restrain her because she's hurting people, specifically me in this moment, who is a lot smaller than her. And on top of that, like looking back, I know I could have done things differently, and I Probably would have, looking back, if I knew what I knew now. I probably would have fought back so then I wouldn't have got as injured, and maybe I would have, gotten away. But I just didn't because I expected things to be handled differently. And also, that day I was already super tired. We had been having a really chaotic shift. Patients were popping off all day. We had given multiple IMs out, and that's probably another reason why the med nurses took a while to come, because they were probably tired of giving IMs too. This was probably like the third or fourth one of the day. And we were having so many admissions and discharges that day. I think I had 3 discharges in the morning, and I was already on admission number 2. So I was just burnt out by the time I was going to give that medication to that patient. And I was kind of like walking like off guard, kind of lazy, kind of like tired. And she really just caught me so off guard that I didn't have time to react. And by the time she was punching me, I was already dazed because she was punching me hard. And once she had her nails in my eyes, like I literally couldn't move. I just went to the ground. She brought me down to the ground, grabbing my eyes, and was still gouging my eyes while she was on top of me, and I was like curled up in a ball. It was bad. There definitely are a couple things that I would do differently looking back. But it's kind of hard when she wasn't arguing with me. I didn't have that adrenaline rush going inside of me. I wasn't angry when she attacked me, because if you're already kind of like bickering back and forth with somebody, specifically a patient, if they're giving you a hard time, if they're posturing at you, you can be a little bit on guard. You can be ready. You can, expect something to happen, and you have a little bit of that adrenaline to help defend yourself. But she asked for the medication. She was asking for socks in a sweet voice, and then she just attacked me out of nowhere. I was totally off guard. I was tired, and there's nothing else I can say but other than I was off guard and unprepared. So learning from that experience, I probably would never, ever go to work in a psych hospital when I'm tired or didn't have enough sleep. 2, I would make sure, even if I had a chaotic shift, to not underestimate my patients and stay alert. 3, I would definitely go with more staff than just 3 other women with me. I would have some men go with me, make sure there's at least 6 or 7 of us, especially if it's a bigger patient, and especially if it's a bigger violent patient. And 4, never trust the patient too much, because you can get that way, and I can admit that I did get that way. It had been 4 years and I had never been attacked, and I treat my patients well, so my patients usually don't have an issue with me. If anything, they might give me a little bit attitude, but nothing more than that, because I don't give them a reason to. But like we said, this is psych, and these patients are unpredictable, so you never know what they might be going through. They're psychotic, some of them. So obviously in her case, she was psychotic, and it was nothing really targeted towards me at all, because this was in the beginning of the shift before I had even gotten to talk to her or do anything that she would be upset about. So that being said, I was at this urgent care. I ended up going there after all because my manager begged me to, and I waited there for 2 hours. They took my blood pressure, asked me what happened, and basically told me, hey, you should go to the ER instead. So at that point, I was just even more mad, and I just went home after that. They needed me to go there in the first place so they can start my workman's comp case so I can get some time off of work, which I definitely needed, not only to heal physically, but to heal mentally, because that experience was very traumatic, and it really did change the way I thought about my job and how I felt at my job, ultimately. So I had a week off only, and I went back to work. And when I went back, I was really anxious. I was scared to talk to my patients. I felt myself being more hesitant and distant from them. I had a harder time connecting with them. And this is really embarrassing to say, but when I went home the night after I got attacked, I ended up peeing in my bed, which I didn't do that since I was a little girl. And that just goes to show you how traumatic this experience was for me. So when I went back, of course, I had some hesitations. So they initially didn't put me back on the high acuity unit. They put me on the lower acuity unit my first week back, so I wouldn't have to deal with such violent patients or such volatile patients, and that helped me to get more comfortable and ease me back into work a little bit more. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I just wanted to share this story to let you guys know. Not only just I wanted to share this crazy story because, like, what the heck? But two, I wanted to let you guys know to be aware, to stay cognizant of your surroundings, and to never let your guard fully down. Even though we may be great nurses, you may be amazing at de-escalation and, you know, may have great rapport with these patients, but at the end of the day, they are unpredictable, and I want you guys to remain safe. This is not to derail anybody from working in psych. I still love psych. I still work in psych, but there are precautions that need to be taken. And that being said, see you in my next ones, guys. Bye.